Policymakers routinely have to consider financial impacts when designing policies. Migration governance is no exception. A particularly hot topic regarding migration policies regards emigration and immigration's effects on welfare systems. In this video, we will compare viewpoints and more specifically research and evidence on how migration can and does affect welfare systems in both destination and origin countries. Looking first at origin countries, there are a few arguments to note. Firstly, a common fear among origin states is that substantial emigration among highly skilled citizens could result in more stress on the welfare system. This reasoning is twofold. Those highly skilled immigrants would likely earn the highest salaries and thereby pay more into the welfare system. Plus, those staying behind would likely be people who use welfare services more regularly, like the elderly. Oftentimes, however, the perception that a large proportion of highly skilled citizens are leaving is commonly over-exaggerated. In fact, it can be argued that temporary emigration helps origin welfare systems because immigrants can complete additional education and training abroad and return as more productive labor force participants. Now let's dive further into this concern that people staying behind in immigrant-sending locations put more stress on welfare systems. What we have seen in practice is that in areas where large immigrant populations are, there are more community or state-organized welfare schemes funded by migrants. These systems usually operate separately from the country's general welfare system. In China's immigrant-sending regions with strong diaspora ties, local welfare systems have emerged that are financed using remittances. In the Philippines, a well-known immigrant-sending country, the government actually organized a welfare program exclusively for migrant families that is funded by membership fees migrants pay into the program. These origin country welfare arguments are important to government since they need to ensure adequate revenue flows into their welfare systems. On the flip side, immigrant receiving countries are mindful of the effects of migration for their systems as well. In general, the main concern is that immigrants may receive more benefits from the welfare system than they contribute. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD for short, was interested in this exact concern when they conducted a study over a 50-year time period on immigration's effects on destination country public purses. This is a term representing the money available to the public through programs like welfare. The OECD's report found almost no significant effects of immigration on the studied country's public purses. The exceptions were in Switzerland and Luxembourg, where immigration was associated with a 2% positive increase in the public purse. So immigrants were not taking more than they were giving, they were actually giving more than they were taking. In addition to this argument, proponents of immigration also argue that immigration can fill labor gaps in destination countries, which subsequently generates more revenue for welfare systems, especially in countries where you have aging populations. Now let's keep our focus on destination countries in Europe, since many countries here have comparatively generous welfare systems. A pressing question is whether migrants choose a destination based on the welfare system, presumably by favoring those with either lower income taxes or higher welfare payouts. A study in Finland on this question found that welfare-related factors are not as prominent for decision-making compared to decisions based on language, distance from the origin, and the population demographics. These findings are consistent in other countries as well. Finally, let's look for a minute at forced migration, a case that might be considered as one where you must take in people on moral and humanitarian grounds, but might not be as beneficial for the public purse. Sweden presents an interesting case here. Taking in refugees yields positive spillovers for the welfare systems. This is rooted in a theory called refugee Keynesianism, which asserts that the increased public spending resulting from refugee intake stimulates productivity and thereby supports welfare. The caveat here is that pre-existing state attitudes towards public spending will determine the extent to which accepting refugees will actually stimulate a destination country's economy. Origin and destination countries both have valid reasons to care about migration's effect on welfare systems. While some arguments in the field can be guided by misconceptions, there is also clearly a multitude of research and evidence to guide policymakers in their decision-making. Check out the references in the description if you're interested in more information on this topic. If this video was helpful, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications for future videos. That's all for now. See you next time.